What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and guess what? Today we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about how much BT-14 is going to be a game changer. We now have super rare rookies in main sets. We have rares that can do crazy shenanigans, commons and uncommons that can just do mind-blowing effects. So without further ado, let's talk about how much BT-14 is going to be really such a game changer. Shall we? So guys, let's talk about BT-14. So first off, let's talk about this in general. The new Gomamon from BT-14 is a super rare rookie, first off. So that's very unique in every sense of the word. It has a very good starter main phase, but a unique inheritable. It's first of its kind, to be honest with you. So, and that is opponent's turn. When this Digimon would be deleted, you may play one Gomamon from under this Digi-Evolution cards without paying its cost. So basically you get a free Gomamon out, which means you can, if your opponent blows it up on their turn, can rebuild a stack. And with that, you now have a different out system. Beforehand, once your opponent cleared a board state, there was no getting back into the game sometimes. You had to build up and raising, you didn't have any extra bodies. But now we have a way of actually having a Digimon that can swing on the follow-up turn and climb right back up, letting you constantly keep bringing this back in for another round of swinging. So now, given that we had Digimon with Digiburst added into your hand kind of effects when they were bursted out of the resources, it's safe to say this set will most likely have the rest of the 8 Digidestins from the OG series following a similar effect in the Inheritable. I kind of expect this. There's no surprise there. So expected Agumon, Gabumon, Patamon, Biomon, Palmon, Tentamon, and to be honest with you, I think Godomon instead of a Salamon, because we never really see much of Salamon, but we do see a lot of Godomon. So I expect Godomon to be one of the super rare champions instead. So definitely keep an eye out on this. But so why is this such a game changer, you might ask? Well, if you think about it, the Gomamon has a starter main phase effect as well. So it does something to benefit the deck after it stays on your opponent's turn, because now they're all when attacking effects have resolved. If they pass turn in some circumstance, now you have this Digimon on the board ready to climb up, and now you can push back. So starter main phase, choose one Digi-Evolution card from under one of your opponent's Digimon and trash it. This Digimon cannot be blocked for the turn. So now you get a way of removing an inheritable, which there might be some starter main effects that are going to be different from all of them. They're not going to be the same effect, but it'll be a start of your main phase kind of effect, which will cause the lead to being something unique for each deck theme. So, and the fact that this Digimon can't be blocked for the turn means that your opponent can't just easily have their blocker on board and just block it. Well, this effect doesn't seem crazy right. Well, what if your opponent's Digimon has an inheritable that is annoying? Maybe it has blocker or has a DP boost. Well, the Gomamon's not affected by the blocker, but the other Digimon you have will probably most likely be affected unless you promote it up, and then there's 2 Digimon that can't be affected. But if you didn't, this is now a way of being able to remove said blocker inheritable or a DP boost inheritable that might be a little bit too threatening for you to deal with. So now we might expect some sort of uniqueness in each of these starter main phase super rares that are going to do something completely different than what it did before. So I'm expecting some sort of benefit that will really make you want to play these cards in this style of play. So I think this is really going to be very, very powerful. I think even though they seem like they're underwhelming right now with like aces and everything else, I think this is going to really change up how the decks are going to focus on and interact. But what I noticed as well in this set, it introduced new Tamers that have on plays searching effects that help the theme of the deck more. Yes, it is more of a risky play with hunters, but the fact that the benefits add cards with the Tamer are really good. Do I expect Ty and Matt to get a new one? No, actually, but I could be wrong. but taking in the fact that Mimi helps the plants base theme a lot, I think it is a promise for sure we'll see something similar for all the Digidestins. So that's going to be really important because Mimi also suspends herself to gain a memory if your Digimon is suspended by an effect, or a effect in general affects any Digimon, to be honest with you. So she can pass turns for you, or she can help you take benefits in knowing that your effects are now plussing you to extend your plays, to continue extending plays. And I see Bloom, Hydra, or even Rosemont themed decks really taking a benefit and being really scary with this. So stuff like this is going to be very vital, and I think every Digidestin is going to get one. Maybe Matt and Ty will be the exception, as I said, just because they've already got one in their starter decks, but they are mem setters instead. So it's going to be a lot of toss up there. I don't know exactly where they're going with them, but to be honest with you, they're going to be introducing more of these Tamers for sure. Each Digidestin will be getting one, and it'll be very interesting for sure. Now, the Ace cards being in the set does change them a bit. So understanding will do some crazy stuff, given that the ability to interact on your opponent's turn is going to be big for sure, causing some really awesome plays in the future for sure. So we won't dive too deep into them for sure. And that's just because a lot of people already talked about them being able to Digivolve for free on your opponent's turn, but because they have the Ace that negs you memory that you lose when your opponent removes this by any means necessary, will be very interesting to see going forwards. So definitely take into this consideration. I don't think aces are broken or extremely overpowered in the game. I think they're really worth their weight in salt, though. So one thing I did notice is that a lot of rares, uncommons, and commons actually do some crazy things that can lead to future deck designs that'll be very interesting. First off, let's talk about Goldramon. Goldramon is really interesting. A new token mechanic that we haven't seen since Gomamon. And I think that's very vital to keep in mind because we haven't had token generation in a while. This is a very unique case because it produces two tokens, a blocker and an attacker. One that has rush and one that'll have blocker. But the fact that these Digimons don't have any level, doesn't have any play cost, means that the only way you're going to be able to remove these things are swinging into them. They die in your opponent's security stack or by battle in some sort of way. So that's going to be very interesting to see how the dynamic is. But what's really awesome is that when this Digimon would Digivolve or leave the battle area, delete all your Crimson Flame tokens and the Blue Thunder tokens, get them off the board. If you deleted it with this effect, recovery +1. So already thinking about it, this is probably going to go into SetCon, and I'm not going to be surprised there. Just being able to produce two bodies from one stack sometimes really does help out the deck. And now, if your opponent has a way of getting rid of Goldramon, is really going to be very interesting. I think this is definitely going to change up a lot of deck design, but this could be its own deck, or we're going to just see SetCon come in swinging again, because this card definitely helps out in a way that is very interesting and unique. But let's talk about another new card, and that's Vademon. So it's a very interesting Digimon for sure. Its first appearance in the TCG, I think, and this card has nothing to be scoffing at either. So the fact of it has an on play and when Digivolve effect, now being able to look at your opponent's deck is super scary in most instances, because now you can basically just shut off your opponent's next couple turns. Either you get to bottom deck it or you put it on top. Your choice. And the fact of you get to choose as the opponent is really scary, because now you get to rearrange it in the way you think is going to be beneficial. So either you'll know what the next three jars are, or if it's really good, bottom deck it. But it combos really nicely with its future card really nicely. And I'll explain its evolution after I finish talking about this. But the fact of being able to when you reveal one of the cards for each Digimon card, you get to de-digivolve your opponent's Digimon by that many. So if you reveal 3, you get to de-digivolve their Digimon all the way back to a rookie. And that can get really scary pretty quickly, especially once you go in and you get into its evolved form, Ibamon, Ibamon. Somebody's going to be able to know how to pronounce this. I'm going to screw this up, and to be honest with you, I expect this. So, but because you've already stacked your opponent's deck, this card has an on-play when digivolving. Reveal the 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Delete any of your opponent's Digimon whose total play cost is less than or equal to the one of the cards you pick. Reveal Digimon and return the reveal cards to the top or bottom of the deck in any order. So now, if we take into account of people, let's say they play Death X. Now that's a 20 cost. In most instances, any level 7 in their deck becomes a nuclear bomb for that board. There is nothing your opponent can do against that, and they're basically you're clearing their board super easy, and you punish them for it. So now, let's say they had Death X in that reveal 3. Well, instantly, if they had a Mega, a Champion, there goes both of those very easily. Or even just a Champion and a Rookie, a couple rookies, boom, that board's gone. It's a nasty card, especially since this isn't a heavy investment to do this. And then you get to basically bottom deck their outs to the bottom of the deck, or redirect design the top and guarantee your opponent can't get certain good pieces. So, I mean, that can lead to being scary. And then the last card I'm going to talk about is DinoRexmon, a bigger floodgate in a way, since it can restrict your opponents from free playing any Digimon or even hard casting Digimon as long as they have a single memory to use. So they have to go to 0, and that's going to be really important. If they can't get to 0 naturally, this is going to be a scary card to deal with. Being able to block out 6000 DP, that means Crossheart can't do anything, Blue Flare can't do anything, the Bloom Lord Jessamon decks can't do anything to this theme, because if they don't have a way of memory setting to 3, they can't do everything they want to, and especially because Crossheart wants to play their Digimon by on play, you basically shut off most of their strategy. That means none of their Tamers can play anything for free because they can't be played, and that's super restrictive and very powerful, because most of their stuff is in the 6000 DP range. The only things that are in the exceptions are their bigger boss Digimon, but the earlier this is out, the harder that's going to be able to play. And then the more of these Rexes you get out, the more they have to try to out it, and that gets scary pretty quickly. So definitely keeping that in mind, because especially this thing has Blitz, and then basically you swing in, you choke them to 1. If they don't have a memory setter, what are they doing? This card is on the field, blitzing, dealing damage, it's pretty big as well. So all this stuff adds up pretty quickly. And now being able to basically guarantee that they can't search with their on-play rookies, they can't do anything that their hearts desires, is really nasty. And this card also laughs at SetCom, because Magna Angemon can't do anything to this card. So if they're not at 0 when they slam down and give you that 7, they're not doing anything to it. And it's surprisingly, this is just crazy as well, because let's say Flame Hell Scythe, if it doesn't pass to your turn with a beneficial, they're not playing that Digimon by effect. So the more memory they have to time this right, so they have to pass turn to be able to play these effects. So if the Crossheart player doesn't pass turn, or any of them pass physical turn, they're not doing anything. So stuff like that is good to keep in mind as well in design, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens going forwards. Definitely excited, to say the least. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know down in the comments what you're excited for in BT-14. And guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!